that the ships, according to the captain of one of them, was struck by some sort of shell. That's how he described it. One was an oil tanker, one was transporting chemicals. The captains of both those ships decided to abandon ship. The Iranian Navy says that they have rescued 44 people, that they are now on an Iranian island nearby, that one of those people is injured and receiving medical treatment. This appears to be a significant escalation over that attack on 4 commercial vessels a month ago, just off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. Why do I say it appears to be an escalation? These ships were on the move. They appear to be targeted by missiles of some kind.
Trump shock. USA told it will lose war with Iran, and here's why. Donald Trump's USA boasts the most powerful armies the world has ever seen. But today military experts warned they would never beat Iran in a military conflict, even as the possibility of a hot war between Iran and the USA increased as British and U.S. servicemen raced to the aid of 2 oil tankers attacked off the Iranian coast in the Gulf of Oman. Military threats and saber-rattling rhetoric have littered dialogue between the two nations in recent months, with Iran's foreign minister warning the U.S. just hours ago it cannot expect to stay safe, while Donald Trump counter-warned any conflict would be the end of Iran. But military experts on both sides of the potential conflict know that despite a massive firepower advantage, a USA victory is far from certain, especially according to one former ranking U.S. Air Force strategist who now lives on the Straits of Hormuz. And here's why, he writes. 1. Iran is a really big country. It is 3 to 4 times larger than Iraq, with a much larger population. 2. The terrain is more like Afghanistan, ringed with mountains, not deserts. It isn't a good place for tanks to run amok. 3. Worse. The Strait of Hormuz is really narrow, especially the shipping channel. Nearly all of it can be fired upon from Iran with short-range missiles or can be attacked from shore with small boats. There is no way to try to sail tankers out during war times. 4. Iran is right, they probably can block the strait in the event of war. No business wants to come under missile attack while in transit. President Trump has told Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan that he does not want war with Iran, but his hawkish National Security Advisor John Bolton is championing an aggressive military posture against Iran, which has long challenged the international community with thinly veiled desire to become a nuclear power. Secretary Shanahan has presented a military plan that includes sending as many as 120,000 ground troops to the Middle East if Iran attacks U.S. forces or accelerates nuclear work. And in recent weeks the U.S. has dispatched a carrier strike group and bomber task force to the region, which the Pentagon says is a response to heightened Iranian readiness to conduct offensive operations. But the former flyer, who now lives in the region, said U.S. military intervention would be suicidal and added, "I think it is very, very likely that Iran can just outweigh the U.S. Sure, the U.S. can strike them, and dominate the air. But, even with Saudi help, it is just so large as a country, that the U.S. cannot easily defeat it. That will lead to an emboldened Iran, more committed to backing their Shiite government than ever. Not the best outcome. Which is why the U.S. military is very hesitant to start a war. It would likely be a very unconstrained affair, with no end date." And he warned any conflict would spill over onto the streets of mainland USA with multiple terror attacks. He added, "Iran will undoubtedly use terrorism to strike the U.S. if push came to shove. It's easy to be brave now, but the U.S. isn't under attack. If a real war happened, we would have multiple Shiite attacks on targets like Times Square, Mall of the Americas, Disneyland. You get the idea. So does Iran. So does Hezbollah. These attacks may take place years after the war. Literally. Kiss your freedom of movement goodbye, for years. I'm not sure any American would say that is a good trade-off." Earlier today Iran was being blamed for attacks on 2 oil tankers off the coast of Iran in the Gulf of Oman. One was ablaze and the other reportedly sunk after a torpedo attack. The Bahrain-based U.S. Navy Fifth Fleet said it was assisting the tankers after receiving distress calls, and the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations, part of Britain's Royal Navy, said it was investigating with its partners. U.S. firepower versus Iran firepower. Aircraft. USA, 13,398. Iran, 509. Ships. USA, 415. Iran, 398. Tanks and armor. USA, 48,422. Iran, 3,979. Active personnel. USA, 1,281,900. Iran, 523,000. Most fearsome aircraft. Iran, Kausar fighter aircraft, home-built, based on 50-year-old US F-5 design. USA, Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, cost and capabilities mind-blowing. Most fearsome tanks. Iran, Karar, Iran claims among best in world, actually based on a 1970s Soviet T-72. USA, M1A2 September, incredible technology and armor, one of the most feared main battle tanks. Most fierce ships. Iran, is Alvent, mid-class frigate with 60s technology. USA, USS Gerald R. Ford, a floating city armed to the teeth, carrying 75 attack aircraft.